So welcome to the Laura and Benny Show. We have our special guest today. Very excited to chat with the very talented, I have to give you that much now, Fiona Kennedy, singer and songwriter.
Thanks very much, Laura. Thanks, Benny.
You're
Brilliant
welcome,
to be
you're
here.
welcome. And we like a bit of controversy now on the Laura and Benny Show.
Oh,
so Fiona has a call out. You know the way Paddy called out like every other DJ?
Right.
Fiona's not going small now, she's going big.
Is she?
She's going after Ed Sheran. She has a bone to pick with Ed. I'm telling you now, you'll be up in Cork with Ed.
I'll have to put on my vest and say, I'm going to get you. I'm going to beat Ed.
But yeah, no, because you were at the Ed Sheran one in Pairc Ui
I was.
years ago.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, Ed was bragging, wasn't
Right.
he? That the way he did
was.
it, solo,
Yeah.
with all his electronic
yes.
gear.
Yeah, he'd all his loop pedals and
Yeah.
all this kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
yeah.
And they were all saying, you know, Ed Sheeran's the first person to play in Pairc Ui Chaoimh with no band, doing it solo. And excuse me, Ed, I did it. Way back in the 80s, I opened for Kris Kristofferson on my own with a single guitar to 60,000 people.
Wow.
And it was televised, so I can prove it.
Oh, that's legend.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
I didn't know it was televised.
Oh, I need
No,
to
It
go
was
see that.
fantastic.
It was
Oh.
televised.
Yeah, yeah,
Well, you
it
could
was.
find that somewhere, could you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
So I have it. Like I have
But
it.
that must have been some buzz though, like to such
Best
a crowd.
gig I ever did, Benny.
Wow.
It was unbelievable. I can remember it like
Yeah,
so
yeah, yeah, you can
clearly.
just
It
put
was
yourself there, yeah.
fantastic.
60,000 people, Fiona.
Yeah, yeah. No, they weren't waiting for me. They were,
They were waiting for the highwayman.
Yeah, oh, it was just amazing. And he was so nice. Kris Kristofferson was just so lovely.
Oh my God.
And his wife was there and his daughters were there and they were all, you know, taking pictures and oh God, they couldn't have been nicer.
That's it.
It was Sheemsa Cushlee, which was a concert that was put on annually, you know, maybe biannually in Pairc Ui Chaoimh. So Stockton's Wing would do it and the Wolftones would do it, and
Brilliant.
I was on before Kris then because I had just won a big TV show on RTE, and at that time there was only one.
Well, hang on.
Mind blown here, Fiona. I wasn't
You have
expecting.
mentioned it was screen test.
Look at him to get this
Well,
out.
you've
Oh,
all
sorry.
your
Test,
homework
right.
done.
So I got it onto the archives
Yeah.
last night. When you half mentioned on there, I was like, oh, I'll Google that. And then I found out the name.
Fair play.
And the most two generic words to be Googling through an archive, screen and test was the name of the show, right?
Stop,
So it
yeah.
took a while.
Go away.
But you probably have this photograph at home and you're all, yeah, I hope you do. If you don't, you have to buy it off the RTE. But is that the flashback?
Yes, it sure is.
Actually.
Look at herself there back in 1985.
That was the first heat. That was the
I
first
tell you.
heat. No, it was all kind of heats and it was,
Yeah,
oh
yeah.
stop.
Like
And then
that.
there was all controversy in the Sunday World
Oh.
because there was all judges, you know, and they all were. I remember one of them, Noel Campbell Sharp, said, "Listening to this band is like sticking your head in a bucket of soup," and all this. So that was a big deal.
So back in
those days.
1985, this was like, you can't say
Yeah.
that on TV.
Yeah, great laugh. She was brilliant.
That needs to come back, that saying.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
a brilliant saying.
So BP Fallon, if you remember
BP,
BP Fallon,
yeah,
he
yeah.
was one of the main judges and he liked me, so I was lucky.
Brilliant.
So I was voted through, and then the final was voting from around the country. It was like a
Wow.
Eurovision,
Yeah, yeah.
but in Ireland only, you know, so people were really invested in it. And I won, and John Spillane and his band, the Stargazers, came second, so Cork were in a big way. And it was really great, yeah. So we all kind of got a big start from there.
Wow.
It was
That's
very
brilliant.
exciting.
Isn't it mad that like that's so far ahead of its time, like in terms of like the X Factor and
Exactly.
all those that came along like 10 years later, 20 years later,
Yes.
like all those different spin-offs. Isn't it
That's
amazing?
right.
Yeah.
And Opportunity Knocks was in England before that.
Yes, exactly. You had to go, yeah.
Yeah, and we were I was in that when I was 13 with my sister, and it
Wow.
came to the Cork Opera House. Yeah, we got into the final of that and we were in the Opera House. But so I've been playing really since I was very, very young, you know.
And is it something like that's in your family, or did you naturally just have it, or is it kind of like a generational thing where it's kind of like there was always secret singers kind of in the family that's kind of passed it on, or did you just pick it up as you're just mad for music?
I think it was. I'm the youngest of 5,
Right.
so my
wow, okay.
brothers,
Yeah.
my 2 brothers, brought the music to the house.
Yeah, yeah.
My father was a beautiful singer, all right, and my mum was really, you know, interested in music. But,
Party at Fiona, so yeah.
exactly. It was always music, you know, always music. But we didn't have we've nobody in show business, nothing like that.
Okay.
A lot
Yeah.
of artists in the family, loads of people
Yeah.
that were very good artists, and I've loads of cousins now who are professional artists, and you know, my nieces used to be, my cousins used to be winning the Texco art competition all the time and all that kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
So there was more art really than music. But now, as the generations have moved on, it seems to be there's quite a lot of music in the family. But nobody was connected. Nobody was a professional musician at all.
No, but they'd have a good voice,
You know,
for a noble cause.
and they loved
Yeah.
playing. So my brothers taught me when I was about 7 or 8,
Brilliant.
and sure there was no stopping me then. So then I kind of joined the local gospel choir or in the church. It wasn't even a gospel choir, really folk group, I suppose you'd call it that time. And I loved playing for masses, you know. It was great, I really enjoyed it.
You've got a friend.
Just ignore the
If you-
puppy.
He wants to join the
got her on
band.
side
She
with,
wants to join the band. With a name like Banshee, she can't go wrong.
Banshee and the Bibettes.
Susie and the Banshees. You're going to be a star, Banshee.
I know she's all the podcast. She's put her head around. So, She just finished her treat though, Fiona. Thanks very much for bringing the dog treat. She's delighted.
Very good. But you went into churches, and you were kind of mentioning to me you've seen the complete evolution of churches from like certain things were absolutely not allowed. Like even the when we hear now when someone might say, "Oh, during the mass, will you just keep it kind of religious, and maybe you can have your entrance and your exit song?" But you've seen the total transition from all sorts of music. Like I think you mentioned the guitar might not be allowed in the church at one stage.
Yeah, it was kind of unusual, I suppose, in the 80s for folk groups to start forming.
Yeah.
That was a kind of a new thing. And for weddings, it was always an organ, you know.
Yeah. Okay.
So I've seen it like just change slowly, and then it kind of went crazy for a while when people were doing loads of inappropriate songs. And the church, there was a bit of a backlash. And you weren't allowed to
Cheer into the church.
But I think now it's kind of evened out.
That's
and
right.
you can have a mixture, you know.
That's right.
And people are a lot more clued in because there was a time when the last thing you'd be thinking about was music for your ceremony.
That's
it was
right.
just somebody playing an organ or whatever, that was it.
Oh, you probably didn't even give the list of hymns. It was just that certain hymns were played or sang.
Exactly,
I suppose,
the wedding
mass.
march, and that was it. And
Yes.
sure,
Actually, that's a good
it was
point.
just the wedding. And I still now and again, I still have people saying, "Sure, like you have to have the wedding march, don't you?" And
We
I'm
do
saying,
here
"No,
a couple
we
times a
don't."
year. We do it rarely
Some
now.
people like to have it,
Yeah.
and if they do, I always say, "Look, no bother at all. Get the local organist to do it for you, and then I'll do the rest of it if you want to go really, really."
Yeah, you can still have the march and still have a singer.
Traditional, you can,
yeah,
but like I think it's lovely to have a song that means something to the couple and means something in
If it
particular
triggers
to the
something
bride.
while you're waiting and the tension is building,
It's so important, like,
Yeah.
you know, and just having that song that's going to get the hair on the back of their necks as you appear as the bride at the back of the church, and the next thing you walk
crying, Fiona.
up. No, get them all crying, Laura. That's what you're trying to
Get
do.
those glistening tears running down those cheeks for us.
Fantastic for the
While we're
pictures.
on the entrance song, like for the wedding, like so, if someone has like no musical taste and kind of like they're just kind of like
Not
going,
taste, Penny,
no,
knowledge.
but in knowledge or taste, like, no, but they don't have a specific taste in terms of like themselves. They're not really kind of mad into music themselves, but like they love nice songs, and they kind of come to you and go, "Fiona, love you singing. I'm not mad into music, so I don't have an opinion. I don't want these 5 songs."
Okay,
Like-
they're actually great. I love people like that.
Okay.
I love it when they tell you, "Look, we haven't a notion," and a lot of the time people think they should know and they're embarrassed. And by the end of it, then I say, "Look, lads, there's no hassle. Like I'll give you loads of ideas and I'll help you and guide you along."
Yeah.
And that's my job, and I'm
Yeah.
doing it for so long. I know what's going to work and what's not going to work.
Okay.
But at the same time, I have learned quite a lot of fabulous songs from people that I'd never have thought of doing, and that I wouldn't have thought I could do a good acoustic version of.
Okay.
And people have come up with brilliant ideas. Like I do Nothing Else Matters, Metallica, and I would never have thought of doing that. And there was a couple that were really into their metal stuff, and they mentioned that, and I was saying, "Oh, for heaven's sake, no!" Like I'm
a solo female on a guitar,
But by golly, like it's just brilliant, and I've got a fabulous version of that now, which is really popular. And so there's loads of things, you know, and so I've learned a lot from couples
And maybe
as
like
well.
if someone's not into metal, like the lyrics of some of the songs are brilliant, aren't they? Like
Yeah.
there really is, there's detail in it. It's not just all hard bashing and stuff. Like
Oh,
there's
God,
meaning
no.
behind it, and it's lovely, isn't
And
it?
if there are any lyrics in a song, sometimes people are in a panic about the lyrics, and they're right. because
part of the song is okay, and then there's a part you're like,
and
that's
a part
a breakup
that's
part
dodgy,
or something.
yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
Like the one, you know.
I always think of the one, oh holy cow, like that line in that song from the lads,
elbow.
elbow. But like, and I always think, and some singers kind of sing over and work it, but then in the middle, I've seen it on an exit where it comes out nice and strong. Oh holy cow! I'm like, you can't be saying that in the church.
I know. Yeah. Well, it's not too bad at the end.
True.
At the end, it's all right.
Yeah.
I mean, but I was going to say that song. You know, if I could, then I would, wherever you will go.
Yes,
that one,
yes.
the calling.
Yes.
And it's gorgeous to walk up to, but a lot of the lyrics are about a breakup and it doesn't work.
Yeah.
So I've changed them.
Wow.
And
you have?
I can
You
sort
can make
of
them work and mingle around the kind of the two
exactly.
downer songs,
so that
downer words.
if people love the song and they're worried about the lyric, I can fix it
That's
and
brilliant.
just change it a bit so that they can include the song, you know.
Yeah,
So
I've
there's
never
loads you
heard
can do.
anyone say that they would do that, and I've spoken to a
God,
lot of
yeah.
musicians and stuff.
I've heard a few kind of mumble over where they're just kind of.
But change the words slightly. To
Oh
make it
yeah,
suit.
well, I'm a
That's
songwriter,
brilliant.
you see, so
Yeah,
it's grand.
Yeah,
So-
that's very true. Fiona.
Yeah. So I can do that, and I think there's loads of options, and a lot of the time people don't realise that they can do. There's a lot of things you can do.
And I think a lot of the time people don't actually listen through to all the words in a song, because I have been in like wedding ceremonies or reception, or mostly ceremonies, and there's a song we played, and yes, it is a very romantic, beautiful song. But I'm sitting there going, I can't believe they're playing that song, because these lyrics are like, they're not suitable to a wedding at all, kind of.
And when you're in a church or a ceremony, you will hear every word.
Oh,
See, this is the thing.
Yeah.
Like you can hear a pin drop later on when the wedding is on back in the hotel. Everyone's having a drink. There's plenty of noise. It's grand. You'll get away with loads more. So if your wedding singer, your ceremony singer, be it a civil or a church wedding, like if they're not up to par, it will really be obvious. So that's why I say to people, lads, you know, it's worth kind of thinking about the songs and putting a bit of time into this part, because this is the part people will really notice.
Yeah, because there is parts of the ceremony, I suppose, and like obviously the aisle walk, you're aware of the song that's being played, but I suppose you're very focused on, like coming in, you're focused on the people actually walking in and what are they wearing, what do they look like, and how's he reacting, and what's the mother doing, and what's that child up to over there, kind of thing. But there's parts of the ceremony, and I find especially outside of the church, when you know you're doing a civil ceremony or you're in a hotel or place like that, where there might be a part where, you know, they just give those 3 minutes to everyone's just going to sit back and listen to the song. And they're the parts that like everything kind of just stops for a minute, don't they? And everyone goes quiet.
And it's lovely. And the couple then can kind of chill out. And that's when the romantic vibe starts in the ceremony. Yeah. And that is the ultimate goal for me anyway, to create that, like, so that you're not just standing in a church saying, right, come on, what time is it over? You want to make this.
Come on, Father.
You want it to feel right, like. You do. And the songs will help hugely with that. They really will. So I definitely think that when you know the couples that kind of think about it, and I think being open to ideas and open to suggestions and stuff as well is a good idea. And the same for me, like as the supplier, I have to be open to ideas too.
Yeah, doing a bit of Metallica or whatever it is that might be thrown at you.
Yeah.
And do you find with those kind of song choices, so would you always, like, especially back to, I suppose, the religious side of things, because it's, I suppose, when the non-religious side of things, sure, you're open to do whatever you want. You can, if you want it, you can play any song under the sun. No one's going to tell you can or can't do that. Please ignore the dog in the background who's eating her bed. The treat didn't last, Fiona. It didn't last. I told you. You were like, my dog would eat that for an hour. I'm like, oh, I don't know what this one.
Actually, it was, and I felt so guilty leaving my own little doggy at home. I was going to bring her, and then I said, no, I better not. I'd be pandemonium.
You should have.
They'd go wild. No, they'd go mad, I'd say. They'd be up on the table.
True. But I suppose with the song choices, and obviously it's dependent on, you know, who your priest or your reverend is. But is there some things that, like, if someone said to you, Metallica is a really good example of that.
Yeah.
Like, is that something that you probably should run by the priest or the reverend or whoever's there, or like how do you feel?
I find there some of the feedback we get from the priest is sometimes you go, oh no, he will say grand work away, or the priest has a request of make sure you send me on the booklet and will you just let me know what songs are being sung. So that's the priest who's kind of a little bit more interested in what's happening, whereas the other priest is like, lads, off you go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
it's
there's a
great when
balance
that
between
happens.
it, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, usually it is quite difficult for the priest because they don't know the songs.
That's
so,
right,
and then,
yes,
I mean,
yeah.
if the priest looks up Metallica and listens to Metallica doing that song, he's going to say no. So
it's not going to be the version you're going to do.
no.
Yeah.
So I usually say to couples, look, just like tell them that you're having a professional ceremony singer.
Yes.
I'm not going to suggest anything that's inappropriate, and we put in the hymns then at the appropriate places.
Yeah.
And you know, I
everyone
know the
happy.
parts where you can put in songs,
a nice balance,
and I
that's
know
right.
where you have to have a hymn.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I
Okay.
tell them that in advance, and then if we stick to that, we're always grand.
Okay.
And then for a civil ceremony, what I advise people then is like, the songs are really important.
Yeah.
But it's not a concert. It's not my
right,
concert.
yeah.
This is not a gig.
Yeah.
This is a backdrop to you guys. So
Yeah.
that's what we want. Like it's not everybody sitting down and saying, "Oh my God, isn't Fiona Kennedy brilliant?" It's not
I'm
that.
so excited to see Fiona. Yeah. To mind the bride.
It's all about the couple. So
Yeah,
I would pick my songs according to that
Okay.
as well.
Cool.
You know. So for your entrance, like don't have a big huge anthem for your entrance. It's a backdrop. It's the bride walking up.
It's a subtle guide rather than to that.
That's it, Benny.
Yeah.
That's
Okay,
it.
yeah,
And
that
you
makes
Imagine
sense.
if like
Now,
you
when you
drew
say it that way,
the
it makes
attention
sense.
away from the bride.
Yeah.
Isn't Fiona
and
belting
it's
it
hard
out there
to
in the
do
corner?
that, but
Yeah.
like it's a tough. Very few people
Yeah.
now would take the attention away. But if you pick the wrong song, you could take away the attention for the
Yeah,
wrong
yeah.
reason. People saying, "Oh,
Yeah.
jeepers, why are they walking up to that?"
Yeah.
That's
I
the
know what you
thing.
mean, yeah.
So there's a lot of ins and outs, but it's not rocket science. It's just when you've been in it, as long as the three of us have,
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
know
yeah.
the different things,
Yeah.
and you'd be hoping the people you're working with will actually pay heed to what you're saying.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
say, look, I know I've been doing it a long time.
Yeah,
honestly, I'm not.
Well, this is
I-
why they're hiring you
Yeah,
as well.
I
It's like
think-
obviously for your
yeah.
talent, and, you know, you've got sort of distinctive voice. You know, like even if I don't
Oh,
know
thank
it's
you.
you playing, if I'm at the back door and I've forgotten
You know
who's
it's
playing, I know
me.
it's
Oh, it's
Fiona
Fiona
there.
today.
Oh,
Yeah,
100%.
definitely.
I
Oh,
know
that's
your
brilliant.
voice from outside the
Ah,
church.
great.
Yeah, I
Great.
love it. I love
That's
it.
brilliant.
And I suppose
Yeah.
That's
for
great.
the big
Yeah.
song is kind of like if they want that big song, the exit, because
The
that's
end.
a different vibe. That's like a buzz,
Exactly.
and you're going to have the clapping and cheering
And
and
they'll
stuff.
all
So
be
it's like
clapping,
boom.
and you'll only hear the start of it as well. So I always say to them,
The
we'll start with the
uproar.
good part. Start with all you need is love.
Yeah.
Don't start with the wrong
work
part of the
up.
song.
That
because
reminds
you'll
me
be
as
too
well.
late.
Like wherever it is in the ceremony, you might not need the 4 or 5 minutes version. You probably only need a taste of it, like whether
Exactly.
it's a minute or two. Is that fair
That's
enough?
it. That's totally right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So there's a lot of ins and outs, but as we said,
Yeah.
it's not rocket science at all. It's only experience, really.
When you've got the talent,
You know.
it's not rocket
Yeah,
science.
yeah.
But it's
The
but it's
experience. Yeah.
It's
tricky.
experience and knowing. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you know? But definitely, I mean, being in weddings has always served me very well, and I've really enjoyed
Yeah.
doing weddings, and I still do, even though I have a whole other life outside
Yes.
Yeah.
playing weddings, which is like I'm a full-time professional musician for over 30 years, and I've brought out albums, all kinds of stuff like that,
Yeah.
and that's what I'm doing all the time. So, like, if I wasn't happy doing weddings, I definitely would have given it up on the weddings.
Oh, of
but
course.
like I do enjoy
That's
doing
right.
them
Weddings
very
are
much.
something you definitely you have to love. But like as a songwriter,
Yeah.
I mean, I know you have your album there, your latest one, and I was actually listening to it all
Yeah.
the last few days, and I know you're
There you go.
not on.
I love it.
Find me.
And you've also got a
Find
big
me.
show. That's actually, what is it? Your 4th album?
That's my 4th one now.
That's incredible. Yeah,
and it's
yeah.
all original music now on
Brilliant.
that.
And you had one last year as well. Like, I mean,
That's this
No,
one. Yeah.
that's this one.
Sorry.
That was
And you're-
2023.
And you're bringing one out this year, isn't it?
Well, maybe,
Yeah.
we'll see.
Okay.
This
No
year-
pressure now, Fiona.
Yeah. It's, do you know what? It's the cost of it. It's very dear to bring out these albums.
Yeah.
Like the whole thing has changed. It's not, I don't have a record company who
Yes.
are bringing out these albums for me.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm an independent artist, always have been. I've
Yeah.
never signed to anybody,
Yeah.
even after the show.
Yeah, you kinda
when
took
we
your time
go
with it.
back
Yeah,
to
yeah,
1985 when I won the TV show and everything, when I won the talent competition, like all of the offers I was getting were from show bands. The show band era was still on
Yes.
at that time.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I mean, I actually did get a call from Louis Walsh
Yeah.
I can
The
still
one
see
and
his
only.
name on the pad at home. This one, Louis Walsh, Kilchima. He was still in Kilchima. And I knew he was managing Linda Martin and Chips, that was
That's right, yeah.
And I said, no, Mum, that's show bands again. Like, I wanted to do what Mary Black was doing. That was my thing.
Yeah.
But I could not get into that. I just couldn't break that scene. So I went to America. I went off the States, but not before I had my own 1 hour TV special on RTE, which was a huge thing for me.
Yeah.
But again,
massive, Fiona.
it was huge, it was brilliant. But like I wasn't allowed to do any of my own material on it. Again, I wasn't a big enough star to call the shots, so I was doing.
Yeah, they wanted the audience to have something familiar rather than you getting the showcase.
Which was fair enough. But
yeah.
Trying to build yourself as an original artist, it is very difficult.
But it's such a hard industry to break into.
It is,
like,
and particularly for a woman.
Household name.
It is.
Huge.
And you are not going to get anywhere unless you get lots of airplay. And the airplay now has improved. I've found, Find Me Now, the latest album.
Yeah.
Like, one of the tracks on that got onto the RTE recommends list, the RTE Radio 1 recommends list. And when you're on that, you're guaranteed play on Radio 1. Because really, for people of my kind of music, which would be kind of contemporary folk kind of vibe, that Radio 1 really is
that's the spot,
the place for it.
Yeah.
Like Radio 2 are playing pop.
That's right.
They're not going to play
Yeah.
So, I got loads of airplay, and the track stayed on the charts. It reached number 4 in the English and Irish chart.
Brilliant.
That was purely from airplay, with
That's
no
right,
PR, no nothing.
Which
was amazing.
And do you find it very exciting? You're just driving along in the car, and then suddenly
God,
oh
you're
my
gonna
God,
crash.
that is me on the radio.
Pulling over, you're texting everyone, I'm on, quick. And they're all saying,
go.
Fiona again, jeez. Yes, Fiona, we're listening, brilliant. You're
I'm
everyone
totally
annoyed.
rolling all the windows down,
blaring.
turning it up and driving it into the busiest place they can find me. Like, that's me. That's me on the radio. Or you been Aldi or Lidl or Tesco or
I
somewhere.
did it in a clothes shop once. I was in Kinsale in a shop, and I had to say to them, that's actually me on the radio.
Oh, well done. That's brilliant.
But it was in a small shop, so it was all
I
right.
totally would do the same because it's such
it's
amazing to actually
Fierce
find
thrill.
that's me. That's my work in my words.
It is.
And my voice.
It's amazing. And I got the album then, the album got Album of the Week on Lyric FM on Marty in the Morning. So that was a huge accolade, and I didn't even know. And somebody else, another musician, got onto me and said, "Do you know, for the last 2 days, you're actually being played 3 songs a day on Lyric on Marty in the Morning."
That's brilliant.
I said, "What? I never knew so."
And it's gas with Marty. Marty goes across generations.
He does.
So my father brings the kids to school, but they love Marty. Marty has so charisma.
Yeah.
But he's feeding kind of kids with music and kind of a variety of music.
Oh, that
His
was very
approach is
funny. I
brilliant.
was bringing them to
He's
school
brilliant.
one day in Dublin, and I was like, "Well, what?" Like they were like, "Will you put it on the radio?" And I said, "The radio? You're like 8 and 10. What are you talking about? The radio?"
Yeah.
I said, "You mean Spotify?" And they were like, "No, the radio." So I just put on a local Thinking Young, and they were like, "No, Marty in the Morning." I was like,
There
what?
you go.
But he does. He has a great approach, and it's cross generations. And if anybody wants to have a listen,
He's
2 of the albums are on Spotify.
Yeah,
Because
they
I was
are.
listening to them on Spotify.
Yeah,
It's great.
Thanks, Benny.
No, but they are.
Follow me on Spotify, lads. There is another Fiona Kennedy. She's a Scottish lady.
How
So
dare
that's
you.
not
Stay
me.
away from her.
That's not me. She's way more listeners than I have, so you know that's not me. So if you follow me, I'd be thrilled, because the more followers then you have on Spotify, that's very important, which I only realised in the last year. Numbers, it's all about numbers.
That's right.
Yeah.
And it's gas. You're a bit like me. You don't know what's going on. You're so busy, right?
Yeah.
That you're not your head's not in the social media. You probably missed the fact that we were plugging you last week because you remember we were emailing back and forth.
Totally missed it. I'm so sorry, lads.
No, you're great. I did
want to let people
we did up a little story and fired out there, and then we were on a podcast and we were cheeky.
But
you see,
we were
I
cheeky
know
and posted.
why.
But the show,
why.
you have a show coming up on the 28th and 30th, isn't it, March?
The show is called Natural Woman. Here is
Yes,
the poster.
yeah. There we go.
And,
Savage.
It's a cool poster.
Thank you. That was designed by my niece, now another arty lady.
Wow, back in the family. I love
Sarah
it.
Bloor. Yeah, Sarah Bloor. She's a graphic
very cool.
artist.
Yeah.
And it's songs that I've written about ordinary women who've done and who are doing extraordinary things.
Amazing.
Brilliant,
So there's people, I've songs written about people like Vicky Phelan, who fought the government on the cervical cancer scandal.
Yeah.
There's a song about Mary Crilly, the Cork Sexual Violence Centre. Yeah. There's a song about Dervla Murphy. She's an author. writer from Waterford. She's passed away now,
Yeah.
but I was a huge fan of hers.
Right.
Groundbreaking person.
Yeah.
I'll be honouring, excuse me, frog in the
No,
throat.
you're
No,
all
you're
right.
not. But
We're
it's
talking too much,
But it's a
Fiona.
great.
Yeah.
It's a great. I love concept albums. But
Yeah.
that's a great concept to
Do you like it?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
a
No,
good
that's
idea.
that's
It's a
a
different
great
twist.
idea. Yeah,
for
no.
International Women's Day
Yeah.
and the month of it, I just, you know what, lads, I actually realised I had songs written about kind
Yes.
of people that
And you
inspired
didn't-
me, and they were women.
Yeah.
Yes. They happened to be women, and
Yeah.
I've been getting a lot of feedback from people over the last, I suppose, 2 or 3 years saying, you know, you should do a one-woman show and all this business. And I was like, God, I couldn't do a one-woman show. It was going to come to me talking about my life. But then when I realised I could do a show about other women who have inspired me, because I did have a lot of material, and then I wrote more stuff to fit into the show, you know. So it's worked out great, not all of the women are from Cork. Some of them are, some of them aren't. And there's like stories about them all, like Mary Elms, the lady that the bridge was named after.
Okay.
She saved like thousands of children from the Nazis and from the sort of soldiers during Franco's civil war in Spain. And there's an amazing book about her written by Clodagh Finn, and I was blown away by that. She's from Ballintemple in Cork, like.
I did not know she was from Valentine.
She was a Quaker.
Okay.
And she went over in the 40s. She went over to Spain, and she used to she was taken prisoner by the Gestapo and everything, and tortured.
Wow.
And she got back to Cork thanks to the German ambassador in Cork, and she went back out again.
Yeah, brilliant.
And she had all these children in. She used to go along, right? They'd be in queues being put onto these trains going to the death camps, and she'd walk along. And she would, in an authoritative voice, in her Cork accent, and she had a neutral passport because she was Irish, so she had free movement.
A bit more freedom, yeah.
And she called them, right? She'd say, you come here, right? And she'd have a car hiding, kind of idling in the background. They would be spirited into the car and whisked away to safety. And she had safe houses where she'd have them. And she saved loads of children like that. Like, I never heard of her either.
No.
Until the City Council put out there is a movie, and they might use the song, lads.
You never know.
There you go.
Anyway, amazing. And
But to find these like stories that aren't, you know, the obvious ones that we all know from over the years, and actually, but then to have the talent to turn them into a song.
Well,
like
they inspired me, you see.
Yeah.
I felt something from them. I
Okay.
could only do it if I could really feel it. Like I wanted to express how I felt about this, you know, and it
Such
just
a
came
lovely
out in
idea.
songs. So, and it's going to be a fabulous night because we've readings then. There's like, for that song now, for instance, there is a reading from the book. On the passage that I wrote the song about, there's a group of Spanish dancers come in, children, like teenagers, come in from a cave, and they dance for the orphaned children and for Mary Elms. They were all frozen and they've no food, and these little ones come in from a cave, and they've got these beautiful red skirts and stuff, and they dance and they forget about the cold and they forget about the fear of the army. Just for that brief moment. And the song is called We Will Dance. Because of you, we will dance. And it's a Spanish kind of a vibe.
Brilliant.
So I have Billy Kennedy, who's a brilliant guitarist, and Paul Seymour, fabulous piano player. So the three of us play the songs.
Okay.
And then Ethel Crowley will do the readings, and I'll do like an intro to each song and tell people about the song now, like I was telling
Brilliant.
you.
Yeah.
And then Ethel will do a reading, and then people will know where the song is coming from then.
Yeah, and
And
they
we'll
can
have the
really
song.
gauge, yeah,
And
yeah.
while that's going on, then there'll be kind of projections along the back. There'll be all kind of images, and there'll be, you know, photographs of Mary Elms and pictures of, you know, whatever the song is about.
Yeah.
Janis Joplin. There'll be pictures of her, you know, groundbreaking during the 60s, doing stuff no woman was doing.
Brilliant.
There'll be, you know, all this will be rolling while the songs are on. So it's a multimedia kind of a show.
Like this is
So-
a lot bigger than I even thought it was going to be. To be like, I mean,
No,
I
and
knew
it,
you were doing something, but this is on a
I
whole
know, it's
other
big
level.
already.
That's great, Fiona.
But
Yeah.
really
Lads, I'm
visualise
mad.
it.
No, you're not. It's amazing.
It's not just you and the guitar. Like I can
God,
visualize
no.
that there and go, it's a real night of entertainment. So if people have a taste for anything, that this will be interesting. Yeah,
It'll be very
for
interesting.
them to see. Yeah,
I really think they will enjoy it, and like
Yeah.
the Cork Arts Theatre is a real little theatre. It holds 100 people. There's a lovely little bar there. And like the seats are proper theatre seats, tiered and everything. And when you book your ticket, you'll see the seats and you could book. It's a beautiful little place. It's just across the bridge from the Opera House.
But I can really feel your passion in this, Fiona, in fairness. Like, it seems to be something that you genuinely are like so passionate about. I'm very excited about it, which is great. And I think like more people need to know about this. We need to really advertise this.
I know. Well, Thursday night now is nearly sold out. In fairness,
brilliant.
So we were.
I better get my ticket for the 30th because Laura's going to gallivanted on the 30th, so I'm going to sneak in.
Fab, do and because the 30th was only recently added. Like the Thursday was going so well that the theatre said, "Look, we'd like to do a second night." So we've put on the Saturday now. So there's loads of tickets available for Saturday, so I'd be thrilled if you came. Thanks, Benny. You're very good to support. Thank you.
But it's interesting and it's a little bit different, and it's kind of like, and it's something that we kind of know you from a different scene with the wedding scene, and then to kind of get to know you in like, you know, the other part of your actual musical career, I suppose, if that makes sense. And do you find that, like, you know, the couples that book you, are they people that like they find you? I suppose it's probably a bit of both. They find you through, I'm searching for a wedding singer. But is there people then that know of you from the other scene that they get excited to have Fiona to be included at their wedding as well?
Yeah. There's both. Definitely that other side of it. Now, usually it was word of mouth and online. They hear your voice and they say, yeah, that's a voice that I would like. But I'm getting loads more now that have heard my stuff on the radio or whatever, or have seen me on Spotify or that kind of thing, and that's very encouraging.
It is.
Actually, I kind of feel jeepers, people are kind of hearing about me again.
But it's amazing though, because for them, because I know we were laughing about like, you know, being in a clothes shop, that's me on the radio. But for the couples as well, that like they have you booked to sing at their ceremony or their drinks reception, and then they're in the car and they're like, oh my God, that's my wedding ceremony singer, like on the radio. It's kind of like,
it's great.
It becomes their own excitement as well as your excitement.
Definitely.
Which is really nice.
And loads of them now, like people whose weddings I've already played at, a lot of those couples are coming to the show.
Amazing.
And they came to the launch of the album. We launched the album in Collins and we did a big gig in Sea Church as well. We did a nationwide tour after the launch of the album, and there was loads of couples whose weddings I had played at,
lovely.
At those gigs, and they come up and say, oh my God, and it's just brilliant, like. So that connection is really great. I love that, meeting couples, and I always say, make sure come up and say hello and tell me who you are. Tell me I've played your wedding. Sure, I mean, because my, like, having, being a musician for such a long time, I stopped doing my own music for many years when the children were young, and my marriage broke up, and I had a lot of I was on my own, and I couldn't afford to do it. I just couldn't, so I was playing in pubs. And it was tough. Like, I had quite a few tough years, and I just couldn't prioritise my own music at all. So I was just going to pubs playing covers, and it becomes quite soul destroying. Like, I was good at it, I enjoyed it, I enjoy entertaining people, but you lose your dreams and you lose your confidence as well. You definitely do.
Because when you've the knack for songwriting and you're that creative, so some lads they love just learning the music, and that's good and that's for them. But when you've got that edge of you like writing songs, and you kind of, even probably when you were seeing things, you were kind of going, there's a little song in there, you're thinking of a little lyric, like you say, that's tough not to be doing it, not to express yourself.
But you doubt yourself then as well, especially as a woman, I think, that the older you get and the more it's all about the family and the kids and dinners and, you know what I mean?
Though,
you just,
so busy.
It completely takes over, and you forget who you are, like, and you think, God, sure, I can't do that now.
I can't do this. School run.
I can't be outrighted. That's gone. Those days are gone. I can't.
Gone. Not when you've got your passion, Fiona.
No. Like, that's when I brought out my last album just previous to Find Me. There was an album called The Beach. Yep. That was my first kind of foot back in, that was 2017, just before COVID. So, like, my youngest daughter, I have two daughters, and my youngest girl was just kind of, she finished the leaving cert. Yeah. So I was kind of getting, and I pushed myself, I basically pushed myself, and I've remarried, and my husband, Andy, was brilliant support, as you know.
Yes.
So Andy was really supportive as well, and Billy Kennedy, who's playing with me, Billy, like, he and I were doing live streams for COVID. That's when everything kind of started again, and I started tentatively putting out some of my own songs. Yeah. And then I ended up, I said, right, I'm in again. Yeah. And it all started again. So it's kind of, I've been years doing this, but I have nobody behind me. I don't have managers. I don't have PR companies. This shows me putting
You're
this
your
on.
own
Like
woman on
I
your
paid
feet.
for this.
It's the niece putting the post together. It's
It
the
is.
husband
It's,
behind
I'm
you
going around
helping.
putting up posters around Cove today if I have time. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
People don't realise that like there's no funding. I don't have Arts Council funding or anything for this. So like, and it costs a lot. You have to pay for the theatre.
Yeah, it's a big
You have to
commitment
pay
for
the
you,
musicians.
and then
you
hope
have
the
to
people
pay
come.
for.
Yeah,
And you
yeah.
hope the tickets are
Sheenie
sold.
Mac. Well, I started this with Sea Church and Collins and those gigs. Like
Yes.
the tour for the album was a big thing, and it was getting back into the world of ticketed gigs.
Sure.
It is absolutely nerve-wracking. Oh
Yeah.
God, the pressure! Like
When you put up and you're like, please people take this up. You
yeah,
come see me,
and
kind
they
of
may
thing.
not
Yeah.
like, and nobody will. You have to push it
And
like
trying
mad.
to market it correctly, then do people know about it?
And a lot of people, like a lot of people over 40, over 50 even, do not engage in social media, so they won't see the ads.
That's right.
So you have to tell them in other ways, and it's
That's right. There's so many different avenues now.
There's
Like
loads of avenues.
There's like different pockets of age groups are on different things. So it's like previously, if you got on the radio, you're done. You're sold. Like you got exposure. But now it's like there's some on social media. There's still so much on TV. There's some people that wouldn't even know what a newspaper is. Type thing. So there's so many different angles that you have to work on. It's not just get on the radio, bingo, did it.
Yeah, no, forget it. Like, but I mean, it was posters and everything else. Like we had a sellout show now in Sea Church, which is in Ballycotton.
Sea Church,
fabulous venue,
My
but it's
best friend's
outside.
brother
Like,
runs Sea Church, so
go
John
right
well.
at that, John Kidney.
Yeah, John's very
Ah,
good.
sure,
Yeah.
he's
And he
a
loves
dope.
lovely.
He loves the
Tell him
music.
now you were
Loves the
talking.
music.
Yeah.
He's
I
so
grew up like in a small estate, and my parents' house was here, and there was one house between myself and John's house. So like literally we grew up 20 metres away from each other.
Sure, look, and he's such a support for independent
he's done a great job
artists.
to encourage people to have gigs down there, isn't he? He's sought after. He's looking for people to come and do gigs. He wants to bring gigs and entertainment to the community.
And he's having local artists spinning, which is there's a lot of venues, and they won't look at the local artists. There are many venues that I was trying to get into for like years, and I know other people, and they're not interested in local artists. So it's a fantastic, and they are having a festival now called the Folk and Traditional Festival, Fat Fest, and we're on in May. Myself and Billy are going to be special guests with Althan, they're a really big trad group.
Right.
So that's our next Sea Church gig. That's the 5th of May.
Okay.
So for Fat Fest,
we have.
We got into a really big festival in Portlaoise, Forest Fest. And the headliners there are Dexys Midnight Runners, Human League, all these massive bands of the 90s.
Always get to play at a wedding later on. No, guaranteed.
True. Huge. There's going to be like, it's big. It's
Write
as
that
big
down,
as
we'll go. Write that
Electric
down.
Picnic. It might be now a bit old for you. Now the bands might
I know
be
we're
too
not
old.
that young at all, Fiona.
But if the songs are good, they go across generations, or even
it'll be
songs
huge.
that like kind of like would have been generations before us. It's like we were talking to the bands and we were saying, listen, if it's a good song from the 80s, it always gets played at a wedding because everybody knows it. They hear it, they want to dance to it. It works. Good song is a good song.
Those bands, and I mean, they're still playing. So this festival is going to be huge because I have a full band myself. Like I have a 5-piece band but I don't play weddings.
Band. I didn't know that now.
Okay. No, I've always had bands on and off, depending on the size of the venue. I mean, we play the jazz festival every year. We do. And we did a big, huge gig now in Marina Market last year, the full 5-piece band, so we'll have the band now for Forest Fest. We're going to be in the Hoth Blues and Roots Festival. That's Hoth up in Dublin. We're in Cahersaveen Blues Festival. We're in Skibbereen Blues Festival.
Nationwide.
We'll be all over the country now again for the summer.
And then throw a few weddings in on top, Are you going to have
the weddings then are with day job,
Well, that's true, actually.
Exactly, and the weddings are great. It's fine, and they're during the day, so it's okay,
But there's a great
nice balance for you, though, isn't it?
It is.
Going from the completely different scenes to being in a church and playing a hymn to being on stage at a festival.
And they wouldn't believe that I do it. And that's the thing. I mean, a lot of the time, what we were talking about this now before we started recording, like that people can as in promoters or music bloggers can look down on you if you're seen as a wedding singer.
Okay.
And they say, sure, you're only a wedding singer kind of thing. But I always say, you have to be at the top of your game. If you're
you
a
do.
ceremony singer, like I don't
yeah.
play for a wedding, for the dance after a wedding. I'm playing inside in a church or in a room, in a ceremony room, where you will hear a pin drop. So
That's right.
I have to be really, really good to pull this off. So, you know, it really annoys me when...
but I think times are changing. Like we were chatting the other day, and we were kind of like saying people who say, they're just going to the registry office. But now it's 50-50. The effect of new registry office is the hotel where people kind of go and have their civil ceremony.
Exactly.
So things change, and like you're saying, like where kind of in the industry, people might go, it's just a wedding singer, or like I wouldn't lower myself. But like you said, that's where the kind of the pinnacle is at, whereby if you wanted to test yourself, because we always warn people as well, if there's a family member or something like going to sing, and there's a different ball game if the cousin can sing nice in a noble call, but then it's like going to sing in front of 100 people in a church.
It's very nerve-wracking.
You have to be used to that. It's an experience and talent thing, and it is nerve-wracking. Even if you're great at it, in the moment, it's a different ball game, isn't it? Like in front of a crowd and an emotional day, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so if definitely couples, if you are picking somebody, make sure they have a little bit of experience, or even get your wedding musician to back them, so that if there's any faltering, that they can help them, and
that's
support.
A nice idea,
because it's lovely to have someone in the family do a song, but like they'll be grand if there's somebody with them, and that if there's any hassle, then you can just step in and help them out, and it all goes smoothly. I mean, like I was just thinking of, do you know Cara O'Sullivan at all? God be good to her. She was an amazing soprano. She was one of the finest sopranos in the country, and she played at weddings all the time. But I mean, she played for royalty, all sorts. She passed away, unfortunately, very young, unexpectedly. But she used to do weddings an awful lot, and we spoke about that in the past. And like we all have to make a living. It's very difficult.
That's right.
We talked about the show. Like, I'll be lucky if I'm able to pay everything off now for the show. I'm not going to make money out of the show.
And that's it. But
when a wedding is you can actually make a living.
The modern complaint is that the old bands, they have to go back touring.
Yes.
Because they have to make money, because it is so difficult. It's not just sales anymore. And it's like you have to find different avenues. When you love that kind of artistry and kind of that's your passion, you have to find different avenues to kind of have a revenue streams, and you can't just rely on kind of it's not that easy. Like,
no,
it's not guaranteed.
And being able to diversify. I mean, you were saying about the different things that I do. I've always enjoyed different types of music. Even all the songs now on the night of Natural Woman, when the show is on, like they're all different styles, because I like singing in different styles, and I write different styles of music. Now obviously it's the same, my vocal will be similar, but I think it's great to be able to sort of diversify. I don't think it's a bad thing. A lot of the time people want to put you in a box and say, right, that's what she does that. But I mean, we don't want to be put in a box, No. And I forgot to say, the show is on the 28th and the 30th of March. That's the Thursday night and the Saturday night of the Easter weekend. So if anybody wants to get a ticket, you can get a ticket from the Cork Arts Theatre.com. Their website or my website, FionaKennedy.ie, or any of my social media, you'd get it.
Exactly.
I'd say it's going to be. I'd say it will be worth. You're definitely.
No, I'm definitely going. No,
I'm turning 40, Fiona, and going out with the girls. So.
Oh yeah, fantastic! God, I didn't think you were. Wow, you look so young.
Thanks
Have
very
a brilliant night.
Lovely.
You can go to the after party in Clancy's.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, might go over. That'd be some night. That's fantastic.
But back to the weddings, and you kind of. I was just remembering when you said it was emotional there. I think you told me a brief story whereby you actually kind of sang for a couple of generations of a family. Was it
right.
A few sisters and maybe their mother? Maybe
there's
as well?
A family. I played for the parents' wedding, and they have 3 daughters, lads, and I played for the 3 daughters' weddings. Isn't that lovely?
It's a lovely connection, isn't it?
I mean, it's one thing doing siblings, weddings, but have
parents,
and
we were in school, myself and my sister actually. And my sister now doesn't do singing anymore, but we were, I'd say we were about 13 and 14. And we sang Olivia Newton-John.
I was trying to
follow
me in my head there, Fiona, song. For a second. With the parents. I was like,
we were in school, and I was asked to sing it. Quite a few weddings,
Wow.
So, and they're
13
lovely.
And 14 years old.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
God, and they were just a lovely couple, and it was what an honour, like, to play for the girls' weddings as well,
But isn't it so nice that they thought to have you back as well? Like,
their family family.
almost.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'd be very close with them. Like they're, it's amazing.
Yeah, but the wedding industry is great for that. When you do have little traditions,
Yes.
whether it's kind of like we had couples walking themselves up the aisle and carrying on traditions and stuff, and again ourselves, it's great when you do get to go back to a family. And you see them like they've the kids themselves and so on when you bump into them later, or say when they come to your show and they have a chat with you and you get the update. It's great to have that little feedback, isn't it?
Oh, it's
like
fantastic.
It's a lovely industry.
And sure, I mean, like you were talking about Derek Burke there earlier on, and from Crystal Swing, and like his sister, I played for Dervla's wedding, and I mean the number of show business people who were at that wedding.
Yes, indeed.
And Derek was there with all these tractors, there was about 100 tractors.
You're giving it away. We got Derek coming in later. But isn't it incredible?
What an experience! It was just fantastic. I mean, and like they just asked me. I wasn't friendly with them or anything, but they had heard me at wedding fairs.
That's a lovely compliment as well.
And I was absolutely thrilled to play for my peers.
Well, that's musicians asking musicians to perform is such a compliment.
It was such a wedding.
Recently,
brilliant.
and Dervla can sing, so she
she's
knows
brilliant.
a good singer. Like,
I was up
great.
to 90 now singing for that wedding, and I mean there was all sorts of people in the audience. Well, in the on the guest list in the church, and it was real pressure. It was also filmed for TV. Dervla's wedding. Cowboys and cowboy boots or something. There was something. An independent company did it, and it was shown on RTE and everything.
Brilliant.
And it was brilliant. Yeah, really good. She was stunning, and she was fantastic. But Derek and the tractors made it. It was brilliant.
See him now with
so
tractors.
there's all sorts. I mean, it's amazing the stuff that happens. Like another thing that I was actually thinking on the way down. I was playing at a wedding in Gugan Barra.
Yes.
And this was I'd say my most kind of dramatic wedding ever, right?
Okay. In the smallest church in Ireland.
Smallest church in Ireland, right? The depths of the winter, it was, I think it was like December.
It's always interesting in Gugan Barra. Like, it's always an interesting day.
I've never seen anything like the rain that day. No, we were in the middle of one of those weeks where there's a storm every day, Huge storm, like shocking storm. Drove down anyway.
You're lucky to make it there, it's a.
And there's a hill going up to Gugan, and now it's the most beautiful place in the world. But if
when
the weather's bad in winter, like it's grand. Even in summer, you get away with it. But this was like it was December. It was dark. There was gushing water coming down. I was trying to get up the hill. I didn't have a good car at the time.
Down off the mountains behind and everything.
Well, come here to me. When I got there was pandemonium because the church was completely cut off. The whole lake had risen. No, it wasn't just cut off. There was waves. It was like high winds.
The wind gusts through that valley.
Exactly.
It can be very high up there.
It was just unbelievable.
So
you got the boat, did you?
I'm telling you now, it was the worst ever, Benny. The bishop would not allow them to move churches. They couldn't change churches, unfortunately. You have to go through a kind of a big thing to do it. So there was no time. So all the guests were inside in the hotel.
Yeah.
Myself, the bride and groom, and the priest were on the back of a trailer of a tractor, right? The bride had a black bag over her dress.
Stop it.
And we had to go, I was standing on the back with the guitar in the case, like, going across on the trailer. You could not see the causeway that leads to the church. You couldn't see it. So you're like the guy driving, the local man. I was terrified. You couldn't see it. The water was right up.
To the left and you'd be gone.
We'd be gone. Honestly, I'm not exaggerating this now.
Sorry,
we got into the church and the four of us were inside. Well, no, 5 of us, sure.
Right.
No, 4.
Exactly. It wasn't full of all the guests. Like
singing the songs and the wind howling outside and the priest doing the mass. And you know something? It was magical. It was incredible. Like, it was incredible. It was such a shame there was no video because what a memory for your wedding. It was actually spookily fantastic. It was really amazing. And then we came back over. And all the crowd were all shouting out the window of the hotel, all roaring at us and yahoo!
But that is the most amazing story I've ever heard.
Incredible! Oh yeah! And like I got there before in winter. We came out after doing the mass. Everything was fine. Everybody was there, but we couldn't get back. And no, it was nothing like that day. That was incredible. But we had to get all anybody with the jeep had to come over and ferry us all back off the church.
Well, that's it. Now no one's ever going to go Barra in winter again. And if they do, bring their
global warming.
I'm sorry, that actually sounds like an episode of Father Ted.
It was.
It really does.
Yeah, it
like,
was unbelievable.
I can see on the back of the train when I'm
Yeah,
with the
yeah,
guitar.
it was a
Oh
laugh.
my god.
I know, the poor bride felt sorry for her
Very
hair was
used to her
destroyed.
for actually doing it though. Like
She was great.
Like I know
Yeah.
that she kind of felt like, well, I'm not going to cancel it. Like
No,
I'm getting
she didn't.
married today, but
Fair
she could have
play to
just
her.
said, let's just go to
Exactly.
the wedding reception and I'm postponing the
Yeah.
ceremony. But to actually go through with it.
Yeah, fair play to her now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's my dining out story. No weddings.
I tell you could have your next concept album could be the wedding
Yeah.
experiences of the ups
Yeah.
and downs and the mad stories and the experiences, because it's so interesting going for every wedding day is different.
Oh, so
isn't it?
different.
Yeah.
And you have the epic extreme stories, but even the subtle days, it's great. And it must even the simplest of days must be great to like sing a song that somebody wanted.
sure.
It must be great, isn't it?
It's fantastic, and it's great. Like when sometimes things happen. Like I had a wedding only a few weeks ago, and the couple went into the back of the church to sign the register,
Yeah.
which doesn't happen really much
No.
There's only
anymore.
a few around that do
Yeah.
that.
So they went in the back, and I finished the song, and the next thing, one of the people, there was loads over from America. They were all Irish, but they were living in the States, lots of the relations, and they asked me to do the Galway shawl. So I started
In the
playing the
church.
Galway shawls, yeah, and they all started singing. So there was a big sing-song. There were ages in the back, and
And
they were,
they
I know it was
missed
very gentle, but it wasn't a big rousing.
But there
it
are
was
epic
just
moments
fabulous.
you weren't expecting it, and then all of a sudden it
And
just
they actually
escalates
put
a
it
little bit.
into my review then on Weddings
Oh,
Online.
brilliant.
I got
And we have to
lovely
give you a plug.
review.
Aren't you a champ? You're a Weddings Online champ.
That's
you
right,
got the
yeah.
acknowledgement
I
there a few
did.
years ago.
I won
Congratulations.
Wedding
Yeah,
Singer
yeah.
of the Year,
There you
Weddings
go.
Online
Brilliant.
2021. So yeah, I was thrilled with that. Yeah, it was great. It's
amazing.
great to
It's
get
always
all the
great
awards.
to get the acknowledgement, because we also work so hard. But there are so many kind of suppliers, and they probably everyone does great jobs. But each
Yeah.
year you can't give everybody an award
No,
type thing. So it's
no.
great to get the nod. Like you're not going
Yeah.
to get it every year, but it's great when you get
It is
the
just
nod,
to get
isn't
it.
it?
It is, and I think the reviews really are the thing that people go on.
Yeah.
Oh,
Do you know?
totally.
Because
Yeah, I mean-
like you could be entering these awards things night, noon, and morning. You'd be driven out of your mind.
That's it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
very
And
difficult.
some
like.
things you enter them. Like this year, we didn't enter any because we were
Yeah,
just
I
gonna
didn't
do
either.
other things.
Yeah,
And
Yeah, I didn't
Do you know,
try to enter either.
There was awards
Yeah.
on last night. I didn't realise they were on. I saw them put up stories.
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
oh goodness, that's on there now.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you'd be nosy to see who's winning what.
I know exactly. God, you would.
But
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
great.
Yeah, but the reviews are amazing because I think I always kind of the couples that actually take the time to sit down and write a review. But the reviews some people write though, and you probably find the same, like the way they write them and the detail they go into and the little stories
Yeah.
they tell and the
Yeah.
wording they use is just so great for the other couples coming along who
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
like, there's all this choice out there, and I like the sound of Fiona, but I also like the sound of someone else, and then you read a review and go, okay,
Yeah,
that's
that
my
could
mind
swing
made
it
up.
then.
Yeah. She's the one
Yeah.
for me.
True.
Yeah.
But even for ourselves,
Yeah.
it's lovely
Yeah.
to get the feedback, isn't it?
Yeah.
The kind
Oh,
of again, the nod
definitely.
from the couple is like lovely. Yeah.
It is,
Yeah.
yeah, it is, and I mean we all work together. So like,
That's
I
it.
mean, the singers
Yeah.
have to work with the videographers, and
Yes.
it makes a great difference when you
Yeah.
when you've got people that will work with you and will
Yeah.
tell
Right.
you what they want you to do, and you can how to
It's-
stay
oh,
out
it's
of their
great.
way, and
Yeah,
you
we
know.
all work as a team though,
It's
and it's
fantastic.
lovely. It's lovely to
Yeah.
see the same kind of like, because we see you quite a few times in the year, and it's
Ah,
lovely to
yeah.
kind of bump into each other. And I know
It
we
is.
kind of mentioned a lot about ceremonies, but like you do also do the drinks receptions as well
Yeah.
afterwards. Yeah,
I do.
Yeah,
Oh God, yeah,
Yeah.
I do. Yeah, the drinks receptions are very popular now,
Yeah.
and particularly the outdoors. Like for me, because I'm just a guitarist and a singer, so you don't have to pay for extra musicians or
Of
anything.
course, yeah.
So I take up less space as well as everything
true,
else.
True.
And for the drinks reception, then I always tell people it's nice to have something that is not too loud. You can chat. You have nothing blasting you out of it. Like
You can choose to listen or dance along if you want to, or you can just
you could
have
be
your
chatting
drink.
away,
Yeah.
and because
Yeah.
people want to talk at the
They
drinks
do.
reception.
Yeah.
They want to catch up with the relations, and so I play kind of nice upbeat songs,
Yeah.
so that people kind of recognise the song, but they're chatting away and think, oh, this is lovely now, before
Yeah.
they go in for the meal. So yeah, I do a package then for people. I do a special package for the ceremony and the drinks reception, and I go outdoors or indoors or wherever.
Wherever
and
the
there
people
you
are, you're there.
Wherever the guests are,
Yeah.
because Laura has a joke sometimes, when it's a lovely summer day, like you'll go to the guests, because some of the lads are like, well, I sit up here, they sit out there type thing.
They're inside and
And
everyone else is
it's-
outside. Yeah.
But that's good to know, like you say, like
Yeah.
I go to the crowd, and as well, if people are unsure, like sure, like you say, everyone's chatting or whatever, but it's like, different pockets are listening to you, and I always go up to the singer and go, I'm listening, you're great, like
Yeah,
type thing.
yeah, you
And
do,
particularly
I
when
know.
when I
You've
do,
done
I
that
do,
with
I
me,
do.
actually, fair
I
play.
do
Cup
know,
of
but
coffee and a
but
camera in
do,
hand. Yeah.
because I love the music, and it's like, but even if they are chatting away, because that first hour, say when they've just got to drinks reception, they are in a buzz, they're meeting the friends, meeting the family, so they are chatting.
That's it.
But they're also listening But then there's also other people, and sometimes you wouldn't expect it, but sometimes it turns into a bit of a shindig and a bit of a dance, doesn't
you
it?
can have a ferocious
And no one would expect it, like, but it does. Sometimes it kicks off, doesn't it?
Oh, it does. I've got great videos now on my page, and I've got loads of stuff on YouTube and that. And it's all people getting into it, like, do you know,
because
it's
they'd be
amazing.
heckling across the room, like, play, you know, like, here's a request.
Yeah.
And then they're up on their feet and they're swinging people
Yeah.
around, and
It's
it's like
just
a 2 a.m. session going on a 4 p.m.
It is.
drinks
Yeah,
session.
I love that. I love when that happens. It's great.
Yeah.
And it does actually, particularly Cork weddings.
Yeah.
Cork crowd are great
They're
for
great
that.
crack.
Because some weddings then, it can be very dead. Like,
But it's why, and that's why I often say,
Personalities
and
are
it's like,
different.
but even like you say, it can be more of a subtle or mellow kind of atmosphere. But it's like, and people go, oh, is it then a waste to have a musician? But it's not. Somebody's listening.
Yeah.
You
have to have something.
Atmosphere is
God,
so
it's
important.
awful if there's no music.
Do
you know, a lot of it depends too, I think, on the layout in the hotel, where they put the music.
Yeah.
Sometimes they'll be trying to be shoving me out in the corridor or something.
In a cupboard somewhere,
But he'll be saying, look, lads, they're not even going to hear me here.
Yeah.
Like, if everybody's going to get their drink and then they're going to go into the bar, then you should probably put me in the bar.
Get me to the crowd.
So that I'll be playing then and they'll hear me.
I'm laughing because like, this is exactly what I sound like when I go around the
Really?
place giving it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it makes such a difference, because I find when there is some days as a musician and genuinely the bell rings and I see them packing up and I'm like,
I didn't even know you were there.
Were they for the like, were they here?
Yeah,
Like,
they put them in the wrong place.
that's it.
Yeah.
And it can
It's a waste. Like then, no, you
But
should
it can
definitely.
That's a
add
lovely,
so
but it's a
much.
nice tip, isn't it? Though,
Yeah, it
to
is.
people.
Yeah.
And again, that's
music somewhere good.
experience
Yeah.
that you've
Yeah.
done so many weddings, and you know what kind of works with people when it comes to actually entertaining people, so they can actually hear what's going on.
Yeah.
Because I find the drinks receptions, there's some days where the drinks reception was the highlight of the day.
Definitely.
I mean, it doesn't get any better than it.
Definitely.
Like, it's amazing. You kind of come away and a complete height from it. And I get in the car at like whatever time it is at night, and we've done a few things since. But sure, I get on Instagram and talking about the drinks reception.
Yeah.
Because it was great crack.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. And it's a great old time because there's
is.
no pressure and you can have your drink and you're relaxed. The mass is over or the ceremony's over. It's a great time. And I think a lot of the time the couples really want to join the drinks reception. They don't want to miss it.
Oh,
That's right.
And they're rushing to get back.
Yeah,
For
and
the
we're
last
all about that. We say
bit.
to the couple, we don't mess about. We'll get you the drinks reception.
That's great.
We always have a chat and see how much they want. But it is,
great.
it's something that they shouldn't miss out because, like, the guests are there for 2.5 hours. It's like, at least try get the couple there for the last hour.
Yeah.
The last thing you want to do is walk in and only get 5 minutes out of it.
Yeah.
Because they won't get to see yourself sing and they won't get to go around and get the
meet
buzz
people.
and atmosphere.
Yeah, getting the buzz, like. I think
Yeah.
that's definitely
But
very
it's
true.
almost like an impromptu like first entrance as well. Like it's
It
kind
is.
of because like I think the last one we did together, and I hope I get the names right, was Ursula and Cormac down in Garryvoe. Do you remember?
yeah.
So we did the church wedding together, and then we were down in Garryvoe, and they were kind of like there's a couple of different areas in Garryvoe, and they were kind of chatting in the bar, and eventually you were in the library with most of the guests, and when they finally did kind of come through to the library area, she kind of had all our friends in one corner, and you kind of announced it. Yeah, exactly. And it was perfect timing. It was kind of like as they walked in and everyone was cheering, and then there was kind of impromptu dancing with the friends, and then but these are all little moments where they'll remember that for the moment.
That's right.
They will.
Where they're capturing the photo and the video and everything, and it adds to the day where this was a highlight, and like they're all the really, really lovely moments. And I remember Ursula was beaming; she was delighted with it.
Great.
Yeah, it was
great.
Yeah,
great for video.
Oh,
like
amazing.
that kind of stuff really helps.
The motion and the video does really capture music great. Like when I listen back to a singer, like it's like you know about it when you go back and you're listening to the edits and stuff. Like it's something for video, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
The motion, the movement, and then the audio. You can't beat good audio. Like
exactly. Oh no, you can't. I mean, and I have I was talking to you about videos and stuff that I have up. I actually have 2 different pages on my Instagram because I found again. Like my wedding stuff was getting confused in with my original music.
Has to be kept separate.
So I had to separate it. Yeah. So like I've got loads of followers now on Fiona Kennedy music.
Of course.
Yes.
But my wedding page is new. I only started it really last year.
Yep.
So I'd be delighted with the follows from anybody.
Hit the follow button.
Yeah, hit the follow button. Wedding music by Fiona.
Brilliant.
So it does what it says on the tin.
Exactly,
That's
that's right. Yeah.
But I find that I call them the secret followers. That the people in they're so funny. Like so, you'd have like a certain amount of following on the page, but the way it shows the insights of like how many people are actually looking at the page. Oh, it's usually triple the amount of followers that are there. But it's kind of just people having a sneaky look kind of thing.
Yeah.
But just it's lovely for the suppliers to hit the follow button.
Yeah,
and
it
give them a
is.
bit of support.
Yeah. Just to
that's
build up the page. It's hard enough to build it up, but it is now. It's taking momentum now.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
But weddings wedding wise, definitely I did have to start the wedding music by Fiona.
It can be confusing because people sometimes just don't have time in life, and if they go onto a page and they start looking at say the first
there's no
3
weddings,
posts and there's no weddings,
that's right. Yeah.
They move on to the
That
next
was a
thing
huge
'cause
problem.
It's confusing. Yeah.
It was like so. Definitely, no. My website is still this both like there's a weddings page. On
and all the
Fiona
information
Kennedy.
there. It's got the different sections.
It is,
that's right.
Yeah, so I think that's probably the best way to go. But I don't know, are people going on websites that much anymore? I think
You're singing her songbook now. She says they're all on social media.
Yeah, I think it's social media for brides and grooms really
like
these days.
I get more first contact from people through direct messages, like DMs on social media than I do on emails.
Wow.
And sure, phone call is a thing of the past.
Yeah.
Like if the phone rings, we're kind of like,
the past.
what's that noise there now in the background?
Exactly.
Is that a phone?
Yeah.
Now people do still call, but it's kind of
true.
social media. And I think it's just the I suppose if you look at the average age of people getting married, and then what's that age group actually using to communicate, and what are they using to just like show everyone their own their own social media. It's such a massive thing. I mean, our area, like we didn't grow up with social media. We didn't grow up with phones.
There wasn't even internet.
Like we didn't have phones and internet. And I mean, I remember when Bebo came out.
Yeah.
And it was kind of, and then do you remember when Bebo went away and Facebook started?
Yeah.
And everyone was trying to move all their Bebo photographs onto their Facebook because they were going to lose everything. So like things have changed so massively, and it'll keep changing.
They will,
keep changing.
It will be evolving now.
But I think social media has just become kind of like the main. Well, for the moment, it's the main thing I think people actually look at. But they get to see what because we all try to keep up to date with our websites, but it's a lot harder to keep on top of the website updates than it is to do an Instagram post. Or a story or a reel. And I think on social media it's kind of a case of, well, that's what they were doing last weekend. That's what they're doing today. They're recording a podcast with Fiona there this morning. Do you know what? It kind of it shows what you're doing now, and people like to follow you in life. What are you up to now? What are you doing? What's this weekend?
What are you doing? They do actually.
They do.
I know.
It's like a soap opera.
They want to know what's going on, all right. I'll have to put a thing up now. We've got to get a picture at the end of this.
That's it,
I'll put it up
and tell people. Great.
That's it.
Brilliant. It was fantastic talking to you.
It was amazing, Fiona.
Very nice. Thanks for having me. You're so kind
to
invite me along.
Oh no, we're thrilled that you came in. I mean, I feel like we've got celebrities coming into us now at this point. I mean, this woman played in front of 60,000 people and you're sitting in my house on a podcast. To mind Ed Sheran.
To mind Ed, exactly. I'm sure he's coming to that moment, actually.
We'll
tag
him in the post and see what he has to say.
No, it was great. No, lads, thank you so much. Really enjoyed it. It's fantastic to do it, and great to meet Banshee.
Stop.
She's a dote.
She's going to have to calm down though. We're going to have to get that dog to calm down.
She'll train her for the podcast.
That's it. But thanks for coming in, Fiona.
Thank you so much. It was really enjoyable. Lovely. Thanks a million. We'll see you on Saturday night for the show.
Definitely. The 30th of March, in case anyone forgot. 28 is pretty much sold out. We're leaning on the 30th of March now, okay? Brilliant.